Today it is again lecture number 34. So again we are trying to minimize an unconstrained problem. That's why gradient descent or any kind of descent technique we are able to apply here. We don't have any uh, constant here, and there is no worry. Even if you are having constant problem, then all these method are having also extension of this method for constant problem as well. What you do there, that time you, in place of gradient descent, you can apply projected gradient descent technique. So projected concept I had already discussed in detail uh, in initial lectures, so there would be no issue. So I won't discuss projected gradient descent. So, and also I won't go in detail regarding to solve constant minimization problem using some algorithm. So I won't discuss. I will focus on only on constant minimization problem as well. So coming to outline of my today's lectures, first I would give a recap of descent method with line search. Yesterday I had already mentioned that there are two interesting line search. One is exact line search, another one is backtracking line search. So I will give few recap, and also I will take few more examples that I could not cover in last class. And after that, I will talk about steepest descent technique. Okay, so coming to recap of that descent method with line search, I would like to take few examples. Simplest one is the quadratic problem, and you know that if I'm asking, you are already familiar with two kind of descent technique. One is we are calling it gradient descent technique, that where we always see that update is given by defined as, you can call it x plus, or there are many notation. X plus equal to negative of t time gradient at x, current point x. Okay, this one is the gradient descent technique. Another update also, if you are going for second order optimization method, then another also you can define update like this way: x minus the inverse of Hessian times gradient. This one we are calling it Newton method. Second one is Newton method. Of first one is gradient descent. Then if I ask what are the source from where these are coming, so from when derivation is coming, how t is coming, how these things are coming. So actually both method are based on quadratic approximation of a function at the current point x. So quadratic. So we are talking about quadratic approximation. So if I talk, so I am writing it here. So this one is actually gradient descent method, GDM. In short, I will write. This one is talking about Newton method, NM. In short, I will talk about. So if I ask how the derivation is coming, so derivation is coming with respect to quadratic of uh, approximation of the function. So f, we are having function f. That means our actual problem is we need to minimize a unconstant problem, optimization problem. Uh, that means we are minimizing f of x. So in the neighborhood of current point x, we try to approximate function in two way. One approximation I am calling it f1 cap. It is defined as f of x, value of function at current point, plus uh, t times, I can call like this way. Simply I won't give f1 f2, otherwise confusion would be here. So gradient f at point x transpose y minus x. Y is a neighboring point in the neighborhood of x, plus, now quadratic term. Next term definitely it would be quadratic term. So it smartly depends upon what kind of quadratic term you are willing to take. So we are taking a very simple kind of quadratic term, 1 by t times here we will take directly square of norm of y minus x. So this one is one kind of one quadratic approximation. So I am calling it it is a q1. And what is variable here? Here y is the variable term because y is a neighboring point in the neighborhood of uh, x. And another approximation I am calling quadratic approximation that I am calling it q2y, that would be defined in term of Hessian. So it would be f of x plus. So all these are coming from Taylor's theorem. So Taylor's theorem is very important. You know from calculus class what is Taylor's theorem. So gradient of f. So gradient of f at point x. X is the current point. So I have to always take x as the current point. Y minus x plus quadratic term. So in quadratic term, we are not approximating quadratic term directly here. Here one approximation is coming. So that's why I'm taking another approximation from the Taylor's theorem. So directly you can say that it is a second order Taylor's second order approximation. This one is also it is one kind of first order approximation. This one is second order approximation. But quadratic term is also coming here. So this approximation is little bit different. It is a quadratic. This one is also a quadratic operation. Now we are getting directly quadratic approximation from where? From Taylor's theorem. So quadratic term would be y minus x transpose times Hessian will come here. In the first quadratic approximation, we don't observe Hessian, but in the second quadratic approximation, we observe Hessian. So that means the quadratic form y minus y transpose times Hessian of f at point x into y minus x. So you can look into these two quadratic approximation. Both looks both are quadratic approximation. It is giving a function. One is giving underbound and another one is giving overbound near current point x. So if I'm asking, find the optimal point of these two quadratic approximation. So what are the optimal point? How you can find optimal point? So here usually you can observe that x is the current point. That means it is already fixed. You know you are at current point x. So x is fixed. You now you want to move around x in the neighborhood of x. So that's why y is variable. So if I'm asking what is the derivative of this gradient of these two quadratic approximation with respect to y. So first try to find gradient of q1 with respect to y, because y is variable. So what would be gradient? So it is just what? It is a very simple kind of quadratic function. You can say that. So it is easy to find gradient of this. So gradient of this one would be what? Here differentiate with respect to y. So here only this one is the linear term. So only gradient of fx will be remaining. Gradient of fx. Okay. So if you differentiate this term, so what you will get here? And here gradient fx. Now here you observe quadratic term. So if you differentiate this quadratic norm of this one, you can further. We know that norm of x how we write. If you or simply if you are willing to write the norm of x square y square, how you will write in term of inner product? You can write it like this way: y transpose y. It is like this. It is also and one quadratic function. So if you differentiate, what you will get? 1 by 2 and 2 will cancel out. The remaining thing we will have 1 by t times y minus x. Remaining thing we will have my y minus x, and equate this gradient to 0 in order to get optimal solution. So if you simplify this, what is the simplified form? So if you simplify, then simply you will get y minus x would be equal to t time, if you're taking in this one, bring it this side, so negative, you can bring it here, negative, uh, gradient of f at point x. So it simply further simplify, so you can write it y equal to x minus t times gradient of f at point x. So you can observe that what is this? This one is the same thing what we are talking about update. And y is what? Y is the neighboring point. So that's why you can simply call it this y is actually update, next update point. Y you can say that it is actually just x plus. Simply you can replace y by x plus update. So this is the way to derive gradient update rule. So one way, this one we are calling it update rule. Now similarly, if I'm asking how to derive update rule in case of Newton method, so again, so in order to derive Newton method, you don't have to take this first quadratic approximation. You will take this quadratic approximation. So if you are going for this quadratic approximation, again find the gradient of second quadratic approximation q2. So what is the gradient with respect to y? Gradient would be here very simple. There is no t involved in q2. So if you are willing to find gradient with respect to y, this one is constant with respect to y. So here linear term you observe. So just we will get gradient of f at point x, and the second term would be what? It will come from here. It is a quadratic term. So if you differentiate, it is simply very simple kind of differentiation. Many times I have already told that how to differentiate this quadratic form. This form always we are calling it quadratic form. The gradient of this quadratic form x transpose p, x is simply what? It is px. So in place of p, what we observe Hessian. That means nabla square fx, gradient square fx. That one is one way of representing Hessian. So directly here in second term, we will observe that it is coming as Hessian of the function at point x time y minus x. Y minus x. So this is, so simply Hessian have of function of n variable always happens to be a matrix. Matrix times this vector always happens to be a vector. So we need to equate this gradient of q2 equal to 0 in order to get optimal point in the neighborhood of x. So it will imply that further we can write it y, we can write is this calculation is similar. So take this y minus x this side, left hand side. So you can easily see that y you can write, you can write it like this way: x minus inverse of Hessian at point current point x. So inverse of Hessian, so I would like to write like this way: inverse time gradient of the function at point x. What you observe that, so y is just what? Y is your just updated point. So you can call it y is actually here, this one is defining an update rule, and it is what? It is message with Newton method. So you have already seen the derivation of gradient descent method and Newton method. Both are coming from quadratic approximation, but both quadratic approximation are different. So these are both descent technique, but dealing in different approach. So you can say that so these two technique in together we can combine, and we can go for a steepest descent technique, more general name of descent technique, we can say that. So those things I will discuss in detail. I had already, so the problem which appears here, I have already discussed all those quadratic problem. So and also in that quadratic problem, problem I had asked how to find if your problem is quadratic, then easily you can find exact through using exact line search you can find an optimal step size. So this one was the optimal step size for the quadratic problem, x transpose ax plus 2a b transpose x plus c. So this one I had already discussed. Okay, coming to further regarding that problem. So one simple quadratic problem, we are taking it x square plus 2 y square. You can see that this function is a convex function. It is very easy to see. And if you just find if you are willing to find optimal value of this one, then just find gradient of this problem and equate to 0. It will directly give optimal value. So optimal value of this one would be what? Optimal value would be 0, where it would be at 0 0. But suppose we want to find this one algorithmically using gradient descent, then how can you find? So we have to apply gradient descent, and I had already mentioned that in the quadratic program line search is working very fine. So go to define a step size with the help of line search. After few iteration you will get this approximate solution. What is it? Is here x cap. That's why I have it is this point is what you are getting it 0.125 into 10 to the power minus 5, and second point is also negative 0.22 into 10 to the power minus 5. So it is you can say that this point is very near to 0. Actually after few iteration we are not exactly getting uh, the optimal point, but we are arriving very near to optimal point 0 0. And in the figure you can observe that the movement of iteration in this gradient descent. So suppose this is your starting point or initial point, you call it x naught. You started from here and you know the geometry of gradient descent. You can observe that here the direction of descent, it would be always perpendicular to the contour at that point. And it is, you can say that it is coming from due to first iteration, this one is due to second iteration, this descent is due to second iteration, this descent is due to third iteration, and likewise after few iteration you got this x cap, this approximate solution. Okay, and that approximate solution is very near to 0 exact solution. It is one geometry of gradient descent. Further, if you are willing to solve same problem with the help of backtracking line search, then backtracking is always a smart technique to take a step size. So if you are taking a backtracking line search after 201, after few iteration, that means 201 iteration, you will see that your algorithm is directly converging to a solution with optimal value 0 0. So that this iteration I had already taken from somewhere else. You can observe that. So at first iteration this is the value of the objective function, second iteration this one like this way, and finally you will get optimal value. In 201 iteration you will get optimal value. Here also you need to output the norm of the gradient as well in order to see that why a stopping criteria. What would be a stopping criteria? That a stopping criteria is saying that norm of the gradient must be less than one tolerance parameter epsilon. So it depends upon you what kind of tolerance parameter you are willing to take, and you can easily it would be always a scalar number, so usually you can get you can output it. Okay, further, so one more little bit complicated quadratic problem I have already taken here. So the last problem was very simple kind of quadratic problem. So even gradient descent is not always working fine for every quadratic problem. Even in case of a quadratic problem where conditional number is very high, then gradient descent may not work properly. So for that perspective, I have taken this kind of quadratic problem where gamma is the coefficient of x to a square. So it is even conditional number, it will be dependent on this gamma, and this problem will be it will influence highly gradient descent. So here gamma is greater than 0, and here we perform exact line search with a starting point this one, this gamma 1. If you are taking this is the starting point, what would be the iterative point at kth iteration? It is given by first coordinate is this one and second coordinate is this one. So here suppose if gamma is very greater than 1, that means very greater than 1, even suppose it is gamma is around 10 or 11 or 20 or 100, something like that, depends upon what kind of, or very less than 1, then what will happen, it will behave, gradient descent method will behave improperly in order to find optimal point of this one algorithmically, or in iterative approach. One example I have already taken. If you are taking gamma equal to 10, then you can see this kind of zigzag path of convergence of gradient descent for this quadratic function. So quadratic function is always this kind of quadratic function where you have already taken gamma is greater than equal to 0, and you can observe that if you are willing to find Hessian of this matrix, then this function, what would be Hessian? Hessian would be 2 times 2 0. First row would be 2 0, second row would be 2 gamma, and gamma is positive. So Hessian is always a positive, even positive definite matrix. So due to that, we can say that this given function is always a strongly convex function. So there is a guarantee of existence of a unique optimal point. But despite of that theory, so that one is all about theory. But, when you are going for practical approach to find the optimal point, then you need to apply some kind of iterative algorithm. So when you are applying a gradient descent here, starting from this initial point, you will see that you are getting a very zigzag path, and it is taking time to converge the optimal point. If your this problem is not well shaped, or you can say that anisotropic kind of situation, if you observe, that means uh, that it is lambda gamma is very high, then you will observe anisotropic kind of contours, and that time that gradient descent, it will work very slow. So another problem I have taken here, non-quadratic problem. So if you are taking a non-quadratic problem, suppose for example, this one e to the power x1 plus thrice of x2 minus zero point 0.1, and second term is e to the power x1 minus 3 times x2 minus zero point 0.1, and here last term is e to the power minus x1 minus zero point 0.1. So what we observe, if I am talking about convexity of this function, there is no issue of convexity of this function. This first part of the function is convex, second part of this function is convex, and third part is just also exponential. So this one is convex. So overall, the objective function is convex. But if I am asking how to find the optimal point of this one algorithmically, then that time there would be issue. So we can find a optimal point of this problem using both kind of line search, one exact line search and backtracking line search. It is given already here. This is the path for when you are performing a step size using exact line search. That means you are fixing a direction first, descent direction, then minimizing function along that direction in order to get an optimal step size. And this is the path of scenario of finding optimal. This is the optimal point, and in the backtracking, and this is the situation of getting optimal point. Okay, now coming to generalization of that descent technique, that we are calling it a steepest descent technique. So how we can see in general perspective what is the steepest descent in detail, I will talk in here. So what is a steepest descent method? So here we first define two, it is highly dependent on norm, what kind of norm you are willing to take, and that means what kind of distance you will choose in order to get optimal point. So that it highly dependent, it is dependent on the steepest descent is highly dependent on the norm. So a normalized steepest descent direction, a, a steepest descent direction, or simply in short, we can say that it is a search direction. Steepest search direction also we can say that. Descent direction always I used to say that it is a search direction as well. At point X, with respect to this general norm, we can define as a argument of minimum argument of the this uh, gradient of F transpose V. It is one kind of operator norm that are so what we call it dual norm. How we define so dual norm always we define it like this way. So or direction norm also we can call it something like this way. So if I'm asking to define a dual norm, how we define, so y is a suppose it is a direction, then dual norm of this one we always define like this way. Supremum or maximum of y transpose x. There are many variant of definition y transpose x, so that x is coming from either unit norm, or you can convert it further, x is a unit vector, or you can further it define like this way: supremum of y transpose x such that it is divided by norm of x, where x is must be non-zero when you divide. So all these two, even apart from these two definition of dual norm, there are many definition of dual norm. So all are equivalent to each other. So this idea is just generalized from somewhere. This idea of steepest descent has been motivated from here. Okay, so you can say that normalized steepest descent direction we can define as the minimum argument of dot product of gradient at point x with v, where v is any unit vector. So in interpretation also, how we can say that one more idea in calculus I might have discussed during calculus course, that if you multiply gradient, or if you take dot product of gradient with any unit direction, then the resultant dot product we call it a directional derivative. So it is a definition of directional derivative of a gradient, you can say that. So this is the concept of directional derivative. Also, you can talk about a steepest descent direction as the argument of the minimum argument in the directional derivative of the directional derivative at point x. So you can talk about that. So interpretation, how we can visualize. So suppose we are taking v as uh, a step, very small step, v is a very small step, then we can observe that in the neighborhood of x, f of v, it definitely this functional value, it would be very near to f of x, this linear approximation, f of x plus dot product of gradient with v. V is just in the neighborhood. So you are, suppose you are at point x, x is the current point, then you are taking a selecting a direction v. So you are arriving here direction v like this way. So at here, so at this point f of v, it would be very near to this linear approximation, and in that perspective, what we call this normalized steepest descent direction, it is the unit norm step with most negative directional derivative. This one is the most negative directional derivative. So now, once we have already defined a normalized steepest descent direction, we will define here unnormalized steepest descent direction. How we define? We define it like this way: unnormalized here. So it is just multiply the normalized descent, steepest descent with dual norm of the gradient. This one is coming as a dual norm of the gradient. So it is definition of dual norm. It is same. It is coming from here, and it satisfies that if you take dot product of gradient with unnormalized steepest descent direction, then this would be equal to negative of dual norm of gradient, negative of a square of dual norm of gradient at point x. So descent a step of such direction of the steepest descent direction, you can in this case you can say that it is what it is given by this uh, steepest descent. here coming. And convergence property, it is similarly, it is very much similar to gradient descent, what we had already discussed. So one example, I would like to take it here. Several examples here I have taken. Few examples of a steepest descent. So descent a step or such direction. If you are taking your norm is Euclidean norm, that means 2 norm or L2. Simply you can say that L2 norm. That how we define it is a square root of or simply we define in term of square root of inner product of x with itself. So this we are calling it Euclidean norm or 2 norm of any vector x. So if you are taking a descent a step or such direction with respect to Euclidean norm, then your steepest descent is nothing, just it is negative of the gradient. So negative of the gradient that you observe here. So one question I would like to say that if you try to recall it from the dual cone perspective, then always you observe that gradient of the function, where does it belongs to? So it always belongs to normal cone of the function at point x. It always belongs to normal cone of the function at point x. And descent direction, where does it belongs? So descent direction, it is always coming in the direction cone, or sometime also you can say that closure of direction cone, we are calling it tangent cone. So you can say that it always belongs to feasible direction cone. That notation I had given it f. So f always here descent direction d always belongs to this feasible direction cone. So this concept I had already discussed even in the beginning of that dual cone and other things I had already discussed. So in that case, you can observe that it is always making. You can say that a steepest descent in case of Euclidean norm, you can observe that negative. It can't be negative of gradient fx. It is coming in the visible direction, and gradient is coming in the normal direction. Suppose you can observe this kind of scenario. So this is the normal cone where in which you observe direction of the gradient. And what is the direction cone? That means the direction in which function is uh, getting minimized. So this is the negative direction. So that's where negative of fx gradient of at point x, it is coming in the direction cone, and that you are getting a steepest descent direction as a negative of the gradient. Now, if you change your norm in place of this simple quadratic norm, if you are taking a quadratic norm, if simple in case of just in place of Euclidean, if you are taking quadratic norm, then what would be descent direction or such direction? So descent direction or such direction, it will be given by just multiply gradient with the corresponding coefficient matrix P. That means your inverse of coefficient matrix P. So if you multiply gradient with inverse of coefficient matrix, then you are getting a steepest descent direction. That means fastest descent happening in this direction with respect to this norm. Here, remember that norm, it is now it has been changed. It is no more Euclidean norm. We observe here any general quadratic norm, and this quadratic norm is defined by this matrix. This here one condition also we use to put over the matrix P is that this matrix must be a positive definite matrix. Now, one further, if suppose someone is taking L1 norm, then what is the descent direction? Then it is coming very simple that take, you would you will definitely get a what is gradient? Gradient is n-dimensional vector for a function of n variable. Gradient is n-dimensional vector, and if I am asking to find the dual norm of gradient, uh, what's the dual norm of L1? Dual norm of L1 is what? Dual norm of L1 is L infinity norm. So dual norm of L1 is L infinity norm. So we are finding dual norm of gradient with respect to this L1. So that means dual norm we denote it by uh, gradient norm of gradient of f x star. So it is here dual norm of L1, it becomes L infinity norm. So what is the L infinity norm of a function? That means it is talking about the magnitude of the largest magnitude of the coordinate. So suppose ith, so uh, ith coordinate of the gradient is having largest magnitude. So that take consider that one as a that will define a steepest descent direction for the problem. So this I is coming as, you can say that I is the largest exponent of large, or simply you can say that this here it is the largest component of the gradient. It is a way to define a sup norm or infinity norm, and sup norm is a what? It is a dual norm L1, largest component. You can say like this way. Many time I have already discussed this concept as well. Component of gradient. Further, if you want to see this L infinity norm, then you can see like this way. If I am taking vector minus 1, 2D vector minus 1 and 2, then what is the largest or infinity norm? What is the sup norm, infinity norm of this one? It is just which component is having largest magnitude, then second component is having largest magnitude. So now sup norm would be 2. If I am asking what is the sup norm of the vector 0, 1, then which component is having largest magnitude? That's again second component. The sup norm of this one would be 1. So just find the magnitude of the largest component, that would give sup norm of that. That's way. And L infinity is actually, it is the L infinity norm. It is the dual of L1 norm. So that's where we are getting this. This is the steepest descent direction when you are taking L1 kind of norm or L1 kind of distance. So these are various kind of steepest descent technique. So few further example, for a few further example I have taken as a unit ball, or further geometry you will see it here as a direction or steepest descent direction. So if you are taking this kind of elliptical ball, then this would be directly, if you observe the negative of this gradient, it is not giving actually a steepest descent. What is, how you are getting a steepest descent? You are getting, this is the steepest descent direction. Why? Here we are not taking norm as a Euclidean norm. It is non-Euclidean norm. It is coming, norm is coming with respect to some kind of quadratic norm, or with respect to some matrix, some kind of positive definite matrix. Another, this one is the picture for L1 ball, and in L1 ball also you can observe that negative of gradient is not giving a steepest descent direction. That means most descent. What one is giving? This direction is giving most descent direction. This is the most distant direction. So you can observe that negative of gradient is not always working as a steepest descent direction. Negative gradient is only a steepest descent direction for Euclidean norm only. When you are taking L2 norm, in that case it will act as a steepest descent direction. So further choice of norm, how you can take it like this way. So here you can see that if you are taking a choice of norm, you can take like this way, this elliptical norm, or you can take like this horizontal, elliptically horizontal. Then you will observe that if you are taking this kind of quadratic norm, then you will face problem. Your gradient descent, it is working very slow, and this convergence is it is taking time. But if you are defining a matrix in such a way, that means also choice of P is very important. P must be in such a way your steepest descent uh, will work smoothly and very fine. So this approach is here. This, if you are taking this kind of if you are taking a positive definite matrix in such a way, you are getting this kind of approach. In that case, your gradient descent is working fine. But if you are taking this kind of ball, elliptical ball, then your gradient descent will not work fine. Okay. Other things I will discuss in last class. It is already 45 minutes. If you are having any question, you can ask. And tomorrow class would be the last class, and last class I will wind up with Newton method.